Previously on the making of the mob Chicago. After taking his position as the king of the Chicago underworld, Al Capone begins to spiral out of control. So when his Irish rivals try to take down his top hitman,
this is the last time anyone tries to go up against us.
Capone orders the biggest gangland hit in American history. But the massacre triggers a government crackdown on the mob boss. And a new threat arises when a young Prohibition agent named Eliot Ness takes aim at Capone.
Prohibition Bureau!
As the pressure increases,
Ness raided another one of our breweries.
the ruthless mobster decides to do the unthinkable.
We'll just have to kill him.
Prohibition agent Eliot Ness narrowly escapes a hit ordered by Al Capone. For Ness, the fight has now become personal. And he decides to show Capone that not only is he alive, but he's going to do everything he can to bring down the Kingpin's empire.
Over the years, I've seen some cat and mouse games between law enforcement and organized crime. Sometimes it becomes personal. They're going to think all day and night about how to get you.
Is this his biggest brewery?
Yeah.
This could be our big day. Good work. Let's hit him hard. And I want to get a man from the press. We need to tell this story to the people of Chicago. Yeah.
Determined to prove to Capone that he's not intimidated, Eliot Ness and his team of untouchables execute a series of high-profile raids.
Prohibition Bureau!
Over the course of months, they destroy more than 200,000 gallons of beer worth the modern-day equivalent of $134 million. And the newspapers cover it all.
Who is Eliot Ness? Is he an idealist, press hound? Is he a guy who's just out to fight the good fight? The answer is a combination of all these things. He does want to make a name for himself, and he does want to crack down on what he thinks is an incredible problem in Chicago.
To culminate his crusade, Ness has one more move.
Yeah. I think you should take this.
That son of a bitch.
In a brazen display of defiance against Chicago's notorious gangster, Ness gathers the bootlegging trucks he seized from Capone and parks them right outside the Lexington Hotel.
Al thought there's no way in the world that Elliot Ness was going to put Al Capone behind bars. But Ness came in and he started to defy the system, and I think Al gets nervous.
They call Al Capone a bootlegger. Huh? Yeah, it's bootleg when it's on the back of the trucks. But when a host at the club hands it to you on a silver platter, it's hospitality. All I ever done was supply a public demand. They say I violate the prohibition law. Who doesn't? Huh? Tell me that much.
Is it true Elliot Ness has you on the run?
Elliot Ness has me on the run? That's ridiculous.
How does your wife feel about you right now?
My wife is feeling fine, but I'm sick and tired of the lies and the attacks on my family.
If these are all lies, why is Uncle Sam after you?
Who's saying that? Who's saying that? You tell me who's saying that, and I'll fix him. Huh?
Are you sure you're... Okay, guys, we're done here. We're done. It's over. Get out of the way. Sons of bitches.
Hey, get a picture of that. Get a picture of that.
Get out of here.
I think Al Capone's biggest mistake was arrogance. He wanted to give interviews to reporters. He really wanted to be seen as a star. He loved the attention, so the ego got him, and that just put a target on his back.
But what Capone doesn't realize is that Elliot Ness and the Prohibition Bureau aren't the only ones trying to take him down. For the past 4 years, another government agency with more manpower and resources than Ness has been going after the infamous kingpin, the Internal Revenue Service.
The federal government's attack on Al Capone is two-pronged. On the one hand, there's a special squad of prohibition agents led by Elliot Ness. Their task is to attack the Capone gang's source of income from bootlegging. Secondly, there's an IRS investigation into him for income tax evasion. He never filed a tax return, much less paid taxes.
Leading the IRS investigation is an accountant, known for his meticulous attention to detail. His name is Frank Wilson.
Wilson was relentless. He didn't mind spending endless hours just looking through papers, trying to build a financial case. Not sexy, but it was very effective in putting people away.
Despite his efforts, Wilson has been unable to find concrete evidence of Capone's income.
The effort to get Capone was riddled with all sorts of quirks because, of course, everything was off the books in the Prohibition era.
But Wilson has a secret weapon. An undercover agent working within Capone's organization.
Blackjack right there.
By 1931, Al Capone rules over a massive illegal empire and is estimated to be worth the modern-day equivalent of nearly $300 million. But what he doesn't realize is that one of the men working under him is actually an undercover IRS agent. For the past 2 years, Mike Malone has worked to gain the trust of Capone's gang, learning how the organization works from the inside.
Joe, I'm sure you work closely with Rico on that.
Okay, Al. Step up security.
Good.
I've heard some talk of them losing some
intelligence gathering is the stock and trade of an FBI agent. developing relationships with people and getting information to paint the picture, and then figure out the mousetrap you have to set in place to hold it accountable.
Things are going pretty well tonight. Poker's up. There's more money flowing in here than I've ever seen before.
That's what I'd like to hear. I told you. What was that? You ever have any more problems with those Irish guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah.
Hey,
Good, this guy doing good?
Good. Yeah.
Doing good? Good to see you.
You guys have a good day, huh?
Thank you so much.
See you, boss.
With his every move being tracked without his knowledge, Capone remains focused on the one problem he knows he needs to solve: stopping Eliot Ness's raids. And he thinks he finally has a way to do it.
We're moving in on another brewery tomorrow morning. Let's get a member of the press along, too.
Eliot Ness would famously summon newspaper photographers and reporters to be there when he crashed through the doors of these places. He liked the attention, he liked the drama.
We want to send a message. I think we'll be interested in what they see behind those doors.
The address is 3901. We'll move fast on this one.
But this time, Capone has a plan to deal with him. By paying off the local telephone companies in exchange for wiretaps on the phone lines of Ness and his agents.
This is great.
We need to send a message. I don't care what it takes.
Here we go.
After his brewery raid is a bust, Eliot Ness is left humiliated.
You did good.
Good job, Nitty.
And once again, Al Capone has evaded the law. But while he neutralizes one threat, the mobster is unaware that another is closing in. IRS Special Agent Frank Wilson has been conducting his own investigation into Capone's finances. But despite months of analyzing evidence, Wilson hasn't found anything that directly links Capone to his illegal rackets. So he targets the gangster's inner circle and finds a personal bank account owned by Capone's head of finances, Frank Nitti, showing hundreds of thousands of dollars in untaxed income.
Frank Nitti was essentially the manager that worked under Al Capone. He was the bookkeeper, so to speak. If you're going to supply booze to the whole city of Chicago, obviously you need a front office to run that.
Frank Nitti, you're under arrest.
For what?
Get up.
Is this really necessary?
After a short trial, Nitti is sent to jail.
Frank Nitti was one of the smarter guys in the operation, also somebody Capone could really count on. When he went to prison, it really hurt his organization.
So who's this guy?
Frank Wilson.
Good. Now get rid of him.
Al, listen. This guy is with the IRS. This isn't somebody you can just take out like that.
He's a problem. Take him out. That's it.
You're gonna regret this. Mark my words.
Capone's men begin to come up with a plan to take out Wilson. But what they don't realize is that Mike Malone has heard everything. After finding out the name of the IRS agent targeting him, Al Capone orders a hit on Frank Wilson.
Mike. Get out of bed and meet me at that place around the corner in 20. I'll explain everything when you get there.
Oh, can't just wait till the morning.
They're coming for you, Frank.
Get the hell out of there right now.
Thank you.
If you want to back off, I get it.
I want to nail this son of a bitch.
I agree. I'm working on it.
Do you think they know who you are?
They knew I want to be here.
Despite the danger, IRS agents Wilson and Malone refuse to give up.
Malone, I mean, this was the most ballsy guy of all the law enforcement guys. He was able to get inside, get information, and do these amazing things. But, had he been discovered, there would have been body parts in all 50 states.
So do you have anything for me? Anything?
I don't know if this helps, but I overheard some talk of them losing something in a raid. I'm not sure what it is, but I just thought I should mention it.
Thank you.
Wilson learns that the evidence he needs to take down the mob boss could already be in his possession. So he begins combing through thousands of boxes collected over the 4-year investigation.
When you're dealing with organized crime, you might work 24, 48 straight hours, because you find the importance of what you're doing so monumental that you're not even going to take the time to visit your family or go to sleep.
Soon, Wilson gets the break he's been looking for.
There was an aha moment for Frank Wilson. It turns out that one of Capone's casinos was raided a few years earlier, and they had seized a ledger. Frank Wilson finds this ledger and goes through it and flips and sees a page that actually has Al's name on it.
With Capone's name on the ledger, Wilson can at last connect the mob boss to his illegal operations. It's not long before Al Capone is finally indicted for tax evasion. But he's not going down easy. On June 5th, 1931, Al Capone is indicted for tax evasion.
I'm here to turn myself in.
What's in the case?
My bail. Now, who do I need to give this to so I can get the hell out of here?
After paying the modern-day equivalent of $250,000 for bail, Al Capone walks free.
Once Capone is indicted for income tax evasion, it's not clear that he's immediately especially worried, because it's a chess game. There's a public game being played on the chessboard by the IRS, and then there's Al Capone behind the scenes influencing chess pieces to move them around.
And only a week later, Eliot Ness, determined not to let the IRS steal his spotlight, hits Capone again with 5,000 bootlegging charges.
I don't think Capone thought he was going to go down. I think he underestimated what they could do about it. They wanted Al gone.
As news of the charges begin to make headlines, Capone's public image is faltering. But the mob boss remains unfazed, causing concern within his organization.
Headlines are going nuts.
Look at that. I'm not worried about it.
Al, you should be worried.
Let them say what they want.
If this jury reads about this.
No jury's gonna convict me.
Oh, you think so?
The people love me.
No, they don't love you, Al.
So, we'll have to buy him.
May I help you?
I'd like to talk to you about performing your civic duty.
Mind if we come in?
Using their connections at City Hall, Capone's gang acquires the names and addresses of every member of Capone's jury for the upcoming tax evasion trial. And the outfit begins a campaign of bribery and intimidation.
Average citizens were susceptible to all kinds of bribery. At the end of the day, almost everybody does what's best for them and their family.
Come on, would you stop it already? We'll be in and out of here before you know it.
That's right.
On the morning of the trial, Capone is confident he has all the jurors on his side. And with his empire on the line, he can't afford to be wrong.
All rise. Please be seated.
Bailiff, Judge Edwards has a trial commencing today. Take my jurors to his courtroom and bring me his.
After a jury switch at the last minute by Judge James Wilkerson, Al Capone's trial for tax evasion begins.
He bribed the entire jury, the first jury that faced him, but the feds were a step ahead of him. They then brought in a different jury whom he didn't know about.
Mr. Prosecutor?
As each witness takes the stand,
He bought everything a dozen at a time. $500 suits.
the prosecution's strategy becomes clear.
Mr. Capone always took the most expensive suites for his parties and expensive champagne. And he always paid in cash, mostly $100 bills, sometimes $500 bills.
They show that he spent a huge amount of money. The assumption then was that he had a huge income. And they figured people, just ordinary people, would resent that because they were paying their income taxes at a sacrifice. And here was Capone, who was obviously so wealthy, and he wasn't paying anything.
As the trial unfolds, each new revelation about Capone's decadent lifestyle attracts national headlines.
It's on the front page of all the papers. The gangster had risen to a level of celebrity that was as big as any movie star or sports figure. There's really never been anything like it since.
The prosecution finally reveals its key piece of evidence. tying Capone directly to thousands of dollars in hidden income. The ledger discovered by Frank Wilson.
Can you tell me who received those profits?
All the funds in this ledger were dispersed to Mr. Al Capone.
The key is that Frank Wilson's able to track down the bookkeeper who filled out that ledger and to lean on that bookkeeper to make him talk and to get him to agree to testify against Al Capone, which was not something people really wanted to do back then.
After only 17 days of testimony, the prosecution rests their case.
Has the jury come to a decision?
Yes, Your Honor.
On counts 1, 5, 9, 13, and 19 of the second indictment. The court finds the defendant guilty. Sentencing will take place.
The man who got his start as a meticulous bookkeeper is now headed to jail.
It's ridiculous. What do you want to do tomorrow?
What do you mean, what do I want to do tomorrow?
Come on. Hey.
Sure.
Lighten up, huh?
Okay.
He's not too worried. First of all, it's only income tax evasion. What's he going to get, a year or two?
Come on.
His brother had been indicted on income tax evasion and had gotten a sentence of less than 2 years. So worst case scenario, he has to pay back some taxes and he does a year or two in jail, right?
Lighten up.
Yeah, it's all right.
Come on.
Okay.
Will the defendant please rise? It is the judgment of this court that in the first felony indictment, the defendant is sentenced to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. On the second felony count, the defendant is sentenced to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. On the first misdemeanor count, the defendant is sentenced to 1 year in prison and a $10,000 fine. The result is that the aggregate sentence of the defendant is 11 years in prison and fines aggregating $50,000.
Capone is given the maximum time on all charges. The harshest tax evasion sentence in American history.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
After years of tireless work, IRS agents Frank Wilson and Mike Malone have finally taken down America's most notorious gangster.
The 11-year sentence that Al Capone received was a lot for income tax evasion, but it played as a proxy for all the other crimes that he had been involved with, all the murders, bootlegging, prostitution, and everything else. It was basically a way of putting him away for good.
The case against Capone for prohibition violations, considered much weaker, is never pursued. And Eliot Ness realizes that he won't be the one to take down the Chicago mob boss.
Eliot Ness was as much a victim of the Prohibition era as Capone was. He was a hapless alcoholic. He drank himself to an early grave after running unsuccessfully for the mayor of Cleveland.
But despite his flaws, Ness remains a legend to this day for his fearless determination to catch Capone. While Capone's lawyers work on his appeal, the Kingpin continues running his empire from the inside, even paying off the prison warden so he can enjoy the comforts of home.
Salute.
But all of that is about to change. When Judge Wilkerson gets word that Capone is receiving preferential treatment, he not only plans on stripping Capone of all his comforts in jail, he's also going to cut him off from his empire entirely. After Al Capone gets caught bribing the prison warden and his final appeal is rejected, the government orders the Chicago Kingpin to be transferred to a federal prison in Atlanta.
I think Capone definitely thought that he'd be sentenced to prison somewhere near home so he would have access to his family. But I don't think he realized just how badly the government wanted to hurt him.
After years of justifying his criminal ways as a means to provide for his family, Capone is faced with the harsh reality of 11 years of hard time.
Gonna need you to be strong, right? Putting you in charge of looking after your mother. Be home soon.
Take care of yourself.
He came from Brooklyn and he worked his way up in Chicago. He came in from the bottom. He worked and fought and murdered to get to the position that he finally acquired. Now, he's going to pay for that.
As he awaits his transfer, Capone is visited by his top lieutenants, Paul Ricca and Tony Accardo.
Hey. Hey.
How things going?
They're going okay.
I don't know what's going on. These lawyers screw me over. I could be spending a long time in here.
Al, we'll figure it out. It's just a minor setback.
Minor setback? Minor setback.
Can you see where I am?
got me locked up like a caged animal in here. I'm Al Capone. I run this city. Frank's getting out soon. I need the three of you to step up and run things till I get out. You understand? Of course. I've worked too damn hard to let things fall apart.
With all his power stripped away, Capone looks to his top lieutenants to take the reins of the criminal empire he built. And if his men can't handle the job, Al Capone could lose everything.
On the next episode of The Making of the Mob Chicago, with Al Capone behind bars, his lieutenants plot their next moves.
The movies. You want to go into the movie? I want to hold it hostage.
And muscle in.
Always a pleasure.
On a new racket.
How much does your policy wheel bring in a year? $2 million. And over your wheel, if you want to live.
For more of The Making of the Mob, go to AMC.com.